Hello, my fellow Jovians. Today's briefing will be a bit of a patriotic one, yes. Today, we will be looking at the creations of the brightest minds our Jovian education systems have pooped out of the education centers known as school. Our brightest minds have created multiple machines for our glorious fleet. But today, we will start with only one line. The one that makes up for most of our fleet, a machine built with modularity in mind, because we are smart and know better than to create multiple different non-compatible production lines which strain our precious infrastructure and waste our resources. Today, you will be briefed by one of my newest loves, the EMS-06 Batalla line. Now, unfortunately, there isn't that much technical information regarding, well, not just Jupiter, but majority of crossbones, really. See, the entire crossbones, from a quick look at the wiki, is seemingly under the purview of one guy, Hasegawa Yuichi. Crossbones and everything that came from it is by this one man. This means two things. One, things should be, theoretically, be a lot more consistent since Hasegawa-san literally has all the say. He can easily compare stuff with his own writing, his own world building, because, well, he wrote them. All of them. But this also means that there isn't a lot. The Crossbones series is only covered in, like, manga form, as far as I'm aware at least. The original, like the One Year War Gundam, that has, like, multiple different media, written, created, and drawn by who knows how many people at this point. So there's a lot more regarding that timeline, that time frame compared to this Crossbone time frame. Let's take the Zaku as an example. The creation, the technical data on it was like created way later in like books and manga. It was never really explained in the original anime, the Zaku's technical background, and that is kind of the deal in Crossbones too. Not all, but the Batalla is definitely one of the ones that don't really get too much technical data. So, what we know about it is from how it was portrayed in the manga series, and like this little thing here that also on the wiki. I don't see it on the manga. I think it's in the manga, but I think the translation teams that do like the fan English and translations, I think they deleted that page or something. I don't know, because I can't find this page anywhere. Either they deleted that page or it's from a different source book, because I did find out about this while I was looking around for this for this page. I found this like mechanical exposition thingy. I don't know what's inside it though, because that doesn't seem to be a PDF version. Maybe it's from it. Maybe it's from a deleted page the translation team did. I don't know, right? That's like the closest thing the Crossbones MS will get to the MSVR book or something. But with that explained, let's begin with the earliest known Jupiter-made mobile suit, the EMS-06 Batalla, or Battle in Spanish. In fact, a lot of Jovian suits have Spanish names, so I guess our ancestors were Spanish or something. Oui, oh, wait, no, that's French. It is the 6th in the EMS line, so that does imply that there were at least 5 models that came before. We have no idea what they are. I mean, there is the EMS line from Zeon, like these two, the UG and the Zuda. But as far as I'm aware, that's completely different. It's got nothing to do with the Jovian EMS lines. The EMS from Zeon, the code name, the designation is, I believe, reserved for, well, I don't really know actually. The two MSs that use EMS are like completely different from each other. Like one is a prototype, the Zuda, that's a prototype. While the other one was apparently a mass-produced mining suit. And that's not a prototype. So EMS is definitely not made for experimental or prototype suits. I mean, in fact, that's what YMS is for, actually. YMS is reserved for prototype experimentals, like the YMS-14 Gelgug and the Gion as well. So, who knows what EMS means in Zeon? Honestly, it could just be like a random letter they decided to put in for the MS or MA, just to say, this is ours. Let's not get too cut off all this, shall we? This is not the destination code discussion video. I could do that. I have found some interesting information regarding it, but this is the Batalla, so let's just stick with the Batalla. The EMS-06 Batalla is the backbone of the Jupiter Empire. It is what the Jim Hordazaku was to the Earth Federation or the Principality of Zeon. Much like every mobile suit in its era, the Batalla stands around 12 to 14 meters in height. It is at least taller than the Zonoge, which is around 10 meters. Its overall construction is pretty much a standard design for its time, with a panoramic cockpit and beam equipment being the weapons of choice for the MS. Though it does have additional weapon systems like a missile launcher, some kind of mega beam cannon, and a Gatling beam gun. There is no information about its armor composition, but since this is the era of beam weapons where agility is the main defense, and also because almost everything else is made from a titanium alloy ceramic composite, I think it's safe to assume the Batalla is the same. So is that it? Is the Batalla just a generic mobile suit that looks kinda cool? Not exactly. What makes the Batalla special is its modular design. See, at Jupiter, we have a lot of moons. These moons have so many resources in them. What we don't have are big industries. For some reason. So, since the Jupiter Empire can't have multiple production lines that produce full separate designs, they had to get a bit creative. The solution was to create a main chassis that is built around to accept a common standard the Jupiter military will widely used. Again, since this is potentially the 6th model of the EMS line, it implies that Jupiter already has either military or industrial mobile suit design and manufacturing experience. I would say the Batalla is based on an industrial MS, but later on, the actual demilitarized model was created. So this whole modular design thing most likely started with the Batalla. But regardless of whether or not the Batalla is directly based on an early design, it would set the foundation for future Jovian mass-produced mobile suit designs, as most of them are built upon the Batalla. Let's take a look at its core design. Each body part of the MS is made for a specific purpose. The torso, for example, only houses the cockpit. This is a cost and time-saving measure because, as mentioned, Jupiter does not have a wide industrial base for some reason, making each part specialized in one thing only. While it does limit its potential versatility, means that the construction is simple, which allows them to be manufactured with less developed industry in large quantities. There is a backpack, but I'm not entirely sure what it could be. It's most likely the generator because of the tubes coming from it, but it could also easily be the life support system. The arms of the Batalla are just that, arms. They don't have any special ability, like, for example, any coating, a hidden blade compartment, or built-in weapon. Nothing of the sort. Well, I mean, they do have the built-in, like, shield emitter, but that's it, right? It's just an arm that's meant to hold things and to have the shield. That's it. They do have these giant plates on the shoulders that hold the beam sabers, and they are also most likely some form of extra armor. But I personally think that's where they would paint their markers and unit number. The legs are actually where all its thrusters are located. Unlike conventional designs where there is at least a pair of thrusters at the back of the main torso, the Batalla has its 2 main thrusters and 6 auxiliary ones, all in its legs. So all of its movements are done by manipulating the direction of each leg. This feels like there would be like an adjustment period if you weren't training the Batalla, but maybe it moves just like any other MS. Also, the feet of the legs are actually just landing gears. There's no gravity up here in Jupiter, so honestly, we don't need legs. But we do, because when we get to Earth, we'll need to walk, which sucks. Imagine having to walk everywhere. We just float around up here. When not in use, the fleet can be retracted up into the thigh, making the overall silhouette of the Batalla even smaller, which makes it harder to hit. It will probably also help with mobility since the center of gravity is now more compact. I don't think we've ever seen a Batalla under Earth gravity, so we have no idea how the legs function down there. Can they even function? Will they just break? They can at least function under moon gravity though, but moon gravity is a lot lighter, so there's that. There's also the fact that since the thrusters are only in the legs, that also means that is where the fuel is stored. Even with a glance, you can see there isn't much in terms of real estate for loads of fuel, so the range of the Batalla is quite limited. Finally, there is the head, and it contains only one thing, the sensors. Now, the Batalla's head actually looks a lot like the Zaku's of old. It contains a simple mono-eye camera on a horizontal rail. a gas mask-like snout for a mouth. The mouth most likely functions the same as a Zaku, which is meant for venting heat. There's also an antenna attached to the left side, which most likely just covers like communications. What actually handles more complex sensors is the separate goggle piece that could be flipped down. These goggles handle the target acquisition, with one side having a telescopic feature for long-range sight. I think these goggles are most likely produced elsewhere, in like a more advanced factory, while the head is just, well, it's just a head really. Though the base chassis was the core of future models, the Jupiter Empire still attempted to improve the base design, especially in sustainability, as more MSs and MAs were being fielded in the Jupiter military. The development of a more economical replacement began with the EMS-06 Arana Batalla. Arana means spider in Spanish. Wait, no, that's French, what? This prototype as a whole uses mostly already existing Batalla parts, except for the torso, where a new upper piece was installed. This unit comes with 6 appendages, 4 thrusters, and 2 arms equipped with a string gun. 4 Vulcans were also installed inside the new piece to protect the MS from attacks from above. When viewed from the top, the Arana Batalla looks very much like a spider, hence its name. This prototype was built based on the Empire's experience with fighting the crossbone Gundams. The extra thrusters were there to increase mobility to allow the Batalla to match the mobility of the crossbone, while the 2 string guns were meant to disable them. The Jovians even copied the crossbone Murasama blaster in a bid to match its firepower. It is unknown how many of these prototypes were made, but one model was seen leading a unit of the final product, the EMS-12 Arana. Somewhere along the way, the Jovians remembered that the idea of the Batalla's replacement was to be more economical. The prototype, while an improvement over the original Batalla, was not exactly what the Empire was looking for. The technology tested in the prototype would most likely increase the cost rather than reduce it. So they began stripping away what wasn't necessary and even downsides overall still away. The outcome of this extreme cost cutting was a 10-meter tall mobile suit. Though it looks similar to the Batalla, the Arana is a completely new design that requires a retooling of the production line due to the significantly smaller parts. The head unit was redesigned, with the previous goggles now being the standard sensors of the MS. The legs and arms are visually similar to the Batalla, but it's missing the large shoulder plates and, more importantly, the beam shield emitter on the left arm. This was due to the weaker generator the Arana was equipped with. Since it was smaller and lighter, and again, the main goal of the Batalla's replacement was to make it cheaper, a smaller and weaker generator was used instead. This sacrificed the offensive capability of the Arana, since it was only able to carry and power a single beam rifle and saber as its armaments. Speed and mobility were the only improvements over the Batalla, with the Arana's torso having a downscaled version of a spider-like upper piece with the 4 flexible thrusters minus the string guns and the 4 Vulcans. The removal of the beam shield and the smaller size also means less armor. The Arana must rely on its mobility as its only defense, since any damage would be catastrophic. The Arana is a weaker successor to the Batalla, but it was accepted to service and replace the Batalla anyway, as it would save resources for the creation of more limited but powerful specialized weapon systems. After the dissolution of the Jupiter Empire and the refounding of the Jupiter Republic, the majority of Jupiter's military mobile suits would seemingly be decommissioned, except for the Batalla. The mobile suit was instead repurposed into a supposed worker mobile suit called the JMS-06 Doc Ock. The name was changed most likely to distance itself from its imperial past, but Jovians still call it by its original name. And it's not Spanish for once, I think. The Doc Ock uses the original Batalla as its base, but incorporates certain elements from the Arana, such as its head, where the goggles are fitted directly onto the head instead of a separate unit, and 4 directional thrusters fitted on its backpack. Due to it being a supposedly civilian version of the Batalla, the power output of its reactor was reduced so that it could not be used in combat. I say supposedly civilian worker mobile suit because it seems that the Doc Ock is still the main, let's not say military, let's say defense and security mobile suit of the Jupiter Republic, because it is still seen being able to wield and shoot the Batalla's beam rifle and is regularly sortied into combat. I imagine this lower output thing is more of like a limiter that pilots can just disable with like the press of like 2 buttons. And then boom, it's a Batalla again with a new head and more thrusters. No, it actually reminds me of the of like a new that's a mech and battle tech called the Gladiator. Recently they released like a new version of it, the Gladiator 9, I think. 9, it's either 9 or 7, and the 9 or 7 it's also a supposedly worker mech, but it has like weapons on it. So there's that. But anyway, that's the Batalla. My god, I love this thing. I actually love this thing a lot. Look at it. It looks so cool, dude. And the more like I want Bandai to make more of it. Make more of it. Make a model. I will buy the model kit if they make it right now, right? Make it a model kit. Put it in GB02. I want it in GB02. Make it, Bandai, for fuck's sake. Do you want my money or not? I will give you my life savings. God damn it, just make it. Like, it's a modular suit. So you can literally just have a Batalla cannon, Batalla melee, Batalla, I don't know. Just have all kinds of Batallas that you can do, man. Speaking of modular, this is part 1. Part 1 will just cover the Batalla itself. Part 2 will cover like the actual suits that is built from the Batalla, like the other suits that are, you know, where they just swap the parts with like where they just swap the parts to, you know, put in like the more specialized ones and call it a new line of suits, I guess. Like this design has just so much potential because, well, it's modular. You can literally do anything with it. But yeah, part 2 will cover the rest of the Jupiter mobile suits, but not Thocus. So Thocus will be its own thing later on. But yeah, that is for this week's briefing, pilots. God, I love this thing. I really want to see more of it. I wish they, Bandai, Sunrise, whatever, whoever's in charge of Gundam, did more for like these like late stuff. I know they're starting to get there. They're starting to touch. I mean, it's still in the early hundreds, I guess, like with Hathaway and everything. They're still in like their early half of late UC, but we're getting there again. Hopefully, we'll see a new Batalla one day, or just this new like crossbones, anything really. I mean, we're getting there. We're getting so close to the crossbones timeline when it comes to like the mainstream stuff of Hathaway and everything. But that's cool. I can't wait to see that. If they redesign the Batalla, I hope it looks exactly the same, which is not the redesign, is it? But yes, that is one of the many suits the Jupiter colony can produce, all right? That's one of the many suits you pilots get to pilot. Yes, you want to pilot one? Well, go click the sub button, then we'll put you in the fleet. Yes, we need more pilots. More pilots in the fleet, and you get to pilot the Batalla. Yes, it's beautiful. Love it. But if you're not brave enough to join the Jupiter fleet to the military, which is understandable, then how about you leave a like? Leave a like and a comment, so that will tell the YouTubes that this video is pretty good. That other people come in, and those people probably be a lot more braver than you, right? They'll join the fleet, become a pilot while you sit there just cheering them on. Yeah. Discord. That's where we Jovins can talk to each other. My personal graveyard, as I like to call it. It's there if you want to chat with everyone else or with me. Mostly I post memes I steal from other servers and just repost it there. Some of them are funny. Some of them are horrendous. Well, that's up to you yeah. That's up to you how you react to that thing. I think they're all funny. Even the horrible ones. Nothing bad happens there, don't worry. There's no 18 plus server, there's no blood and gore, whatever. It's like it's I would say it's 16 plus, but everyone's an adult. I think everyone's an adult. I don't know. I don't ask. Right? There's no DMs. If you want a DM, you got a friend first. And no, you can't DM me unless I deem you DMable. But yeah, I don't really DM people that much. I'm not sure why I'm telling you this. Glory to the Jupiter colony. Glory to the fleet and to all of our pilots. Keep up the good fight, pilots. Fuck those Earthnoids, right? Take care. And while you fight those Earthnoids, fuck them. But please remember, do not die. We'll come back with more Jupiter suits later on. See ya. Bye-bye. Wait, no, I'm supposed to end with don't die. Don't die.